Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Droning On with Altius Images. I'm Todd Dudley and I'm the founder and director of Altius Images, and in this Droning On series I'll be interviewing people in the drone industry. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Pete Bourne, who is the founder of Air Bourne Drones. Pete has over 40 years experience in the prototype development and test of products within the automotive industry and has used that experience to create the best protective cages for drones in the world. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. And I'm delighted to be joined by Pete Bourne today of Air Bourne Drones. Hello Pete, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good,
How
good.
are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for coming on, especially in these times. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So Pete, you obviously work with Air Bourne Drones now, but I think you've had a fairly interesting and full career so far. So could you just give us a bit of a background about how you started, where you started, what made you get into drones in the end, and all that kind of thing?
You want before I was into drones, or how I?
Yeah. No, definitely, yeah. Before
Well,
you were into the drones.
my background is automotive engineering, so I started. My work back in 1977 as an apprentice with what was then British Leyland,
Okay.
and ended up being offered a position within what was then prototype build and development and test. So we used to build all the prototypes and develop, to do the test work and be part of the whole project development.
Okay.
So it was a pretty exciting time for us. We used to travel the world really, doing cold climate tests and hot climate tests and
Yeah.
high-speed testing in Germany and all
Nice.
sorts. So I couldn't have wished for a better career really, and I stopped there until Rover collapsed.
Okay, for sure. We connected on Twitter through. I put up a video of a lake in Sweden, I think it was, and you said that you used to do some cold weather testing on the lakes out there.
Cold climate testing, yeah. I mean, I did that even after Rover collapsed. I went on to work for Tata Motors and predominantly work on electric vehicles then. But
Cool.
we're probably one of the first companies to go out and do cold climate testing on electric cars, which was again pretty good stuff. I always prefer cold climate. I don't know why. I never really got on with hot climate stuff. I suppose it's a case of if you're cold, you just put another layer on. But if you get too hot, you're out in the desert or something.
Correct.
There's only so much you could take off.
I like the traditional British weather of about 12 degrees. That suits me just fine, so that's all right.
Yeah. Well, I think the coldest we saw was minus 36.
that is cold. That is genuinely cold.
Yeah. I actually, on an aside, did a streak in Finland in minus 33. So that's my claim to fame.
I won't ask for photographic evidence of that. I'll take your word for it.
No.
So as you say, like in the automotive industry for a long time, and then what made you get into the drone world?
Well, unfortunately, I was still working for Tata Motors, and in 2015, I was at home. We were preparing for a weekend away to a music festival, and I suddenly collapsed. Luckily, I collapsed upstairs and landed on the bed. But at first, I simply thought I got food poisoning. But over the course of a few days in various hospitals, they found out that I had a pretty bad bleed on the brain. So I actually had to have an operation on the brain and to fix the bleed. But I soon realised that I wasn't going to recover quickly. An example really is probably 6 months into the recovery. My day basically was sat on the sofa staring at wallpaper. My brain just didn't function at all. But luckily I progressed, and strangely I started building electric bikes. And that sort of really got me on the road to recovery. It got the brain working, and it's once I'd got on a bike, it got my balance back, and then once you're riding a bike, simple things that you think of, making a decision to come out of a T-junction initially very difficult. So
Yeah.
it was the brain retraining itself. So I did that, and then I decided to terminate the contract. I was off sick for 2 years, and I thought there's no way I'm going to go back to what was a sort of high pressure job at Tata. So I decided to terminate my employment, as they say, and I took a severance package and looked at what was there to do. Really, I've always been a very hard worker, and I wasn't just going to sit idly by and watch the world go by. So I could see that drones were an expanding industry, and being high tech in my engineering background, I thought I'd like to get involved with that. So I used the part of the money to go on a training course along with my son Charlie.
Yeah.
Another added thing from the brain injuries, I developed epilepsy. So obviously flying a drone on your own wouldn't be really a very good thing to do. So it's actually written into our ops manual that I can't fly on my own. I have to have someone with it just in case. But I mean, luckily, to be honest, I've gone now for a good 2 years without any issue at all. So the medication's working, but we still, rules are rules. We still stipulate that I shouldn't be flying on my own. And that's how we got into drones. I thought I was going to go down the route of what a lot of people do, go into photographing properties and doing weddings and things, but it really wasn't what I was used to as an engineer. And out of the blue, I got contacted by a drone company that had bought a Phantom 4 cage, but they were having problems with it. It was basically a full sphere. So you imagine like a big beach ball in size. And the problem with it is that when you're trying to take off and you start your motors and your props going, all of a sudden it might decide to sort of roll about,
have a wobble.
And as you take off it, you don't really know where it's going to go. And there's a similar problem when they were landing it. If the ground was slightly uneven, as soon as it landed, the thing would start rolling. So they asked me if I could do anything about it, and I developed what effectively was a takeoff and land platform. So it was almost like a ring that the ball of the cage could nestle in, a bit like an egg cup, really. You can imagine a big egg cup. So they went away happy, and I had the opportunity to study in this cage, and I thought, well, I'm sure I can do it, make a better version, really. And the problem with these cages, there's a fair few out there, but they're miles too heavy. So I decided I'm going to have a go, and with the best, lightest material I could get, and above all, really stiff design, which is where a lot of these other cages fall down. They're not particularly stiff. So I came up with what we call bump cage. That's our registered trade name, and started selling the Phantom 4. In fact, our first customer bought 2, which we were pretty pleased with.
That's a good start.
Spurred us on. And in fact, last week our last customer bought 2 as well. So
brilliant.
But they were the Mavic ones. So we were doing well, and we thought we got a lot of inquiries about Mavic cage. So I decided to investigate the possibilities with that, and we came up with quite a similar cage. In fact, I always thought the Mavic was considerably smaller than a Phantom, but you can actually put one on top of the other, and they're very, very similar size. It was quite tricky, the Mavic, compared to the Phantom, but we got there, and again, it's proved very popular. And
I'm sure.
Hand on heart, I've not had one criticism of either cage. The operators are over the moon with them. The 2 we sold last week were to Yorkshire Water, their drone department, and they were very pleased. I sent a free one up, not a free one, a sample one up, for them to test, and they came back and ordered 2 straight away.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, it's we're really pleased how they're going. So I mean, obviously the situation we find ourselves with the new KLMO is dulled sales a bit, because operators are reluctant to go out on certain jobs. Or probably more importantly, it's their customers reluctant to invite them in. They're closing down their facilities. So that we're seeing a fall down in sales. But as I say, we're focused on developing new products as well. So we've got quite an exciting cage that's sat out. I was working on it this morning, but we're hoping to do a first trial flight of that probably early next week.
Great.
And that is a particularly exciting thing for me to be doing. I can't say much because
that's fair enough.
I'm tied in to a non-disclosure agreement, but
fair enough.
It potentially could have some great benefits for us as a company.
Well, maybe when you are allowed to say something, we can hopefully get you back on and chat more about it then. That'd be good.
Yeah.
So the it looks amazing on the website. If anyone's wondering what we're talking about here, I'll put the link to your website in the podcast description down below, so people can go and have a look. Can you again the video you've got on the website of it in action is pretty amazing. Can you just explain why, for those that might not know, why might using a bump cage be helpful?
Well, it's particularly aimed for people that want to carry out close proximity work. I mean, we always say that it's actually designed for people that want to do internal flying. It's I don't know if you've tried flying indoors, but your lack of GPS all of a sudden drifting in and out.
It's tough.
It means that it could be quite a daunting event to try and keep a drone steady inside, particularly when you start working in factories where there's very complex air movement, because of all the extraction fans and air conditioning thing. All of a sudden you've got a nice steady moving. It goes a little bit higher, and the drone starts drifting away from you unexpected, because you can't obviously see air, but the drone can feel it and react to it. So it's an ideal safety mechanism in the event that the drone does get too close and then clip something. The worst thing to do if you've got an unguarded drone is for a prop to clip a wall, and then your £1,500 drone or whatever comes plummeting down. So it's there. It's we believe it adds stiffness as well to the aircraft structure. If you can imagine years ago, rally cars, well, they still do, rally cars have an internal cage that basically stiffens up the body, and it helps with the handling of the thing. We think, because we haven't got any scientific evidence, but we think that it has a very similar thing with a cage. A Phantom Animal have it quite, not the stiffest structures you'd ever come across, but you add in a very stiff carbon fibre frame to it, and it stiffens everything up. And
for sure.
We think, particularly the Phantom, seems to react far better with the cage on than without. And we've had customers agree with that as well. So that's the whole idea, is that it's protecting the drone, but it's also protecting whatever the environment that you're in. If you're flying within, say, a church, and we've done quite a few church flights, you've got some very expensive and delicate things on the walls. You don't want some props ripping through them. So it not only protects the drone, it's protecting
whatever
things
else is
around
there as well.
it.
For sure.
And potentially, because they're people as well. I'd rather a rogue drone hit me with a cage
with a bump cage on. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
The other
So
thing, they're far much better than prop guard. Prop guards are a highly stressful thing because they tend to have a single point of contact with the drone, and then you have
yeah,
massive leverage on it. So I've never really been a fan of prop guards, but a cage is the answer really for people that are doing these close proximity flights. And
yeah, okay. Well, as I said just before we started recording, I do a bit of work in the insurance world, so it's definitely something I'm interested in, and I might look to get my hands on one. I think because they look amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people. It seems to be a new market now where drones are finding this niche where they work for insurance companies, and particularly where you've got say a building that's had a fire or floods, and it's effectively quite a dangerous place to be. The floorboards could be weakened and things like that. A drone is ideal because it gets the person away from the danger.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is certainly an up and coming market, something that drone operators should be focused on.
Yeah,
And insurance companies, they appreciate that it's a good thing for them.
for sure. So you've hinted at it a little bit. What does the future hold for the company? Obviously, you can't tell us everything at the moment, which is okay. But where do you see? Let's best case scenario. Let's say we get out of lockdown and coronavirus disappears for us. What does the next year or two hold for the company? Do you think?
Well, with drones.
Yes. Yeah. With anything.
In general, well, I think there's no end of opportunity for drones. It's I can see them being the workhorse of the future really, and doing things that we really at the moment we think. Nah, they're never going to be able to change a light bulb or something like that. But I really think that if you take a simple thing like a lamp on a lamppost outside your house, it's got to be changed. And you either put men up in ladders, or you go to the expense of having lampposts that got a hinge and come down. But I think it's quite feasible that in the future your drones will become like flying robots, and they'll have tools and equipment attached to them, and they'll be able to fly up and change that bulb, or go and paint a windowsill or something on a high level building. Things that are sometimes impossible now. It's weeds that growing out of old castles and things like that, where it just far too expensive to put scaffold, too risky to get people to climb ladders. But a drone equipped with some spray mechanism. I know we can't spray. Currently, UK regs say you can't spray by drone, but in the future, that's a possibility. So. You only have to look at military, really. They're doing some phenomenal stuff. I don't mean these big flying missiles, but they're using tiny little drones for surveillance. They can see the advantages of this flying camera, and I don't think there'll be an end to it. It will just expand and expand and expand.
Yeah, I think I completely agree, particularly with the news we've had in the last couple of weeks about the regulations being pushed forward a bit in the UK with the Isle of Wight trial and the trial in Ireland as well to deliver medication. So there's lots of good things happening. So hopefully it does just keep going.
I've dabbled in that. I've got a demo. Actually, it's a drone cage. It's a cage Phantom with a drop mechanism.
Oh,
on
okay.
It. I don't know. I don't know if anyone will take that up, but obviously with some of these drones like the Mavics and Phantoms, they can't really take that much weight. But I can see certainly an advantage of a drone delivering the last 100 meters.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking in mind that it's reducing the person-to-person contact really just does away with it totally. So there's an example where a drone could safely deposit a small quantity of medicine in someone's backyard safely.
And I think I probably know the answer to this based on your what you've spoken about so far. But are you optimistic for the future of the drone industry, or do you worry that legislation and regulation and paperwork might put people off, or how do you feel about the future? Are you pretty optimistic?
Oh, definitely. I'm a natural optimistic person
Good,
anyway.
me too.
Because there's no putting me down at all. But yeah, I think there's a much better things to come, and we're gonna look back, in 20 years' time. And the same way we look back on bank cards now.
Okay.
Well, when I was a teenager in the 70s, and someone said, "Oh, one day you'll be getting your money out of the machine in the wall," I said, "Nah." But it's everyday occurrence now.
Yeah.
And things like that. Technology just keeps getting better and better, and hopefully improving our lives.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm glad you're optimistic. Every guest I've had on the podcast so far has been optimistic, and I am too. So I think if people within the industry are, then it's only a matter of time before people outside are too. So that's good.
Yeah.
So a few easy questions. Well, hopefully easy, just sort of quick fire questions to finish off then with the last few minutes, if that's okay.
Okay.
The first one is, what is your favourite drone to fly and why?
That's probably quite an easy one. I mean, because of the way that we operate here, most of our day-to-day work is not flying drones. We don't really fly commercially, although we can, because we're both qualified. But operationally, most of our work is in a workshop, designing and manufacturing protective cages. So that's our number one. But we do test our cages, and so that's where our bit of flying comes in. And I must say, my favourite has to be the first drone we ever bought, and that was the Phantom 4. We've got two now, but I never named it. I wish I had, but it's just because we don't fly very often, I'm just gobsmacked every time it takes off, and it just sits there, and I think, oh, this technology is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's the Phantom 4 is a great workhorse, really is. The Mavic's good as well, but it stole my heart, the Phantom, when I first pushed that stick up and let go, and it just was rock solid. And it's as I said, because we don't fly that often, I still get that same feeling. I'm in awe of the engineers that designed it and developed it. It's cracking with a kit. So I'd have to say the Phantom 4. And I really haven't flown that many others. I've flown a big M series DJI, and it was, I don't know, I was a bit frightened of that too much.
I think I would be as well. I think I would be too.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then the next one, what's your favourite place to fly and why that you've flown before?
We're quite fortunate. An old school friend from many years ago has got a farm in Claines, which is just up the road, and it's a beautiful setting, and he lets us go up there whenever we want to do all our test work.
Oh, brilliant.
We can do stuff inside the barns, or we can do stuff outside. And it's a lovely setting. It's right by the River Severn. He's actually got a little island that sometimes which is it's an island purely because it's got the River Severn. If you imagine a triangle, it's got the River Severn going down the one side, the River Saltwalk coming from Droitwich goes along the other side, and then it's got the Droitwich to Worcester Canal on the other, so it's totally surrounded by water.
Oh wow!
But it's a great place. It's nice and quiet, away from people, so we can safely get our test work done.
Okay, nice. And then the next one is probably an interesting question for you, because it's the most challenging flight, and why. But I would suggest that because of your bump cages, flights aren't as challenging as they are for most people.
Most challenging. Again, we don't do that much in the way of commercial flying,
Yeah.
but a commercial job we did do a few years ago was a local factory wanted us to first do some external shots of their factory because they were going to have some modification done to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they wanted some internal flying.
Yeah.
Which was okay, but it was a heavily metal environment. It was it's always a risk, metal is, because it can interfere with the
Yes.
compass on a drone.
Yeah.
So we did the external, so we came down at the back of their factory into what was their storage yard, which was just metal city. It got big lumps of iron and all sorts,
Yeah.
all over the place. But we managed to find an area to land, and we got a bit of a compass error problem. I thought, oh, okay, we're not doing it. But anyway, we Charlie, my son, did the flying, and we went through their big roller shutter door, through racks and racks of metal racking full of metal. And then they wanted us to fly over their production line.
Right.
Which had metal cranes and copper induction furnaces. You know, you couldn't be in a more metal
place.
But the good old Phantom was rock steady, and it just flew perfectly. Really
nice.
did. I was very pleased with that, and you always get that sense of what was the word then? I can't remember the word now, but you get a sense that you're not in danger because you can see that cage, and you know even though you're going close to some of these cranes, it's not gonna fall out of the sky.
Yeah, nice. Okay, good answer. And then the next one. So sort of thinking outside of work for this one, really, just for pleasure. If you could film somewhere or something that you've never filmed before, what would it be? And you don't even have to worry about doing the planning or whether you're allowed to fly there. Just hypothetically, what would it be?
That is, again, a pretty easy one, because I would hark back to my brilliant days at Rover.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit sad to say now because most of the factories just been demolished, but I would have truly loved to have done some internal flying inside the factories, and just personally for me, because my heart was in Longbridge with the people and the company, and to have captured those memories for a lot of the other people would have been great for me. Unfortunately, I did try, but got refused permission to do it. So that's where I would have dearly loved to have gone. Strangely enough, we actually did some flying at Longbridge, which was part of the Austin. I'm going to have to see if I get this right. The Austin 80th birthday celebrations. Which I filmed.
Cool.
Over at Elmbridge, in the countryside near Droitwich. But then it was the biggest collection of Austin 8s.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, only 19 left. But, and they all they got permission to go up to Longbridge. So I did some aerial filming at Longbridge of the factory.
Oh, wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so nice. That was quite a nice feeling.
That's cool. And if you could make one change to the drone industry, what would it be?
Oh, a change. Oh, I think, from my experience of talking to other operators and seeing what's going on, I think in a way we're a little bit backwards when you look at other industries. It's an awful lot of stress that's put on a drone operator, because most drone operators are self-employed. You know, they're single operators. They don't have a team, so they have to sort of be experts in everything.
Yeah.
not just sales and marketing, not just flying drones, health and safety, everything. They're a complete entity. And I think if you compare it to, say, a house builder, well, a house builder builds a house, but he's got a team of experts. He's got the people that put tiles on the roof, and then he's got carpenters and people that paint and decorate, and people that sell it, and things like that. And I think really what we need to do as an industry is to start. It might sound funny to some people, segregating. So the pilot concentrates on flying that drone safely and planning and all that lot. And that's his expertise. Ideally, he should have a camera operator, and then his expertise is in doing the filming. And then I feel that why should the drone then have to be an expert editor and director and everything else? A team. I think it needs to be spread out. But I don't really understand the logic, the logistics of it. But I think editors should be expert editors, and then all the footage comes into them, and they process it. So it's more of a team effort.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, some people that argue that that's not right, but I feel that by spreading yourself too thinly, you'll never ever become an expert.
Yeah, a bit of a jack of all trades.
Any one field.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's something people could look into.
Yeah. Good answer.
I'll keep to my cage and keep out of that one.
Okay. Fair enough. And then just to finish off before we say goodbye, you've bit of a left turn, but you've written a song.
The song. Yes. Have you heard it?
I have. Yeah, I listened to it just before we came on. It's very good.
Right.
It's very good.
Yeah, I mean the song came about following the sort of brain damage that occurred, and I went from being a sort of logistical engineering type mindset to starting to be a little bit more creative.
Okay.
And I began probably 18 months after the initial brain damage, and I started to write poems and things like that.
Yeah.
And I happened upon a really nice chap from Evesham who was a folk singer, Colin Pitts, and we were actually at a folk event, and he happened to hear my partner Lynn talk about my brain injury.
Yeah.
And it so happens that Colin had suffered a brain issue a few years ago, and so we sort of gelled a bit, and he went on to encourage me in my writing and creativity.
Right.
And it culminated in me writing the words to what I thought would be a song.
Yeah.
But not being musical, I didn't have a tune to it.
Right.
Anyway, I sent it off to Colin,
Yeah.
and miraculously, a few months later, a CD popped to the letterbox from him, and it actually wrote the music and performed it for me. Great. And it's really touching because it's very personal, and it's basically all about missing my own self. At that point in time, I could appreciate that I was different.
Yeah.
My behaviour was different. I wasn't as outgoing as I was. So it's my little way of sort of capturing that moment in time, really. So I'm really pleased with it. Yeah. And if anyone is interested, it's on the website. So if you go to www.airbournedrones.com, and people need to understand that Bourne is my surname, so Bourne is spelled Bourne. Airbournedrones.com. And it's on the music tab at the top.
It's a lovely song. As I said, we'll play it. We'll have it play us out. You won't hear it, Pete, but we'll have it play us out so everyone will hear it that's listening. And the website will be linked down below. I'll link your Twitter down below as well because you're pretty active on there.
Oh, thank you.
On there too. So people will definitely be able to get in touch if they want to. But that about does it really for today, Pete. So thank you very, very much for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm glad you're sounding nice and healthy at the moment, which is great to hear. And so good luck with everything over the next few months and years. And I'll probably be in touch soon about getting my hands on a bump cage.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Pete.
I might give you a discount.
Oh, that would be very kind. That would be very kind.
Okay, Todd.
Thanks very much, Pete. Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye. So that does it for episode 4 of Droning On with Altius Images. A huge thank you to Pete at Air Bourne Drones for his time today. It's fascinating talking to him, and it sounds like he's got some very exciting things coming out in the future. If you want to get in touch with Pete, you can find the link to his website down below, as well as the link to his Twitter. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can find us at Altius Images on Twitter and Instagram, and you can search for us easy enough on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube and TikTok. All of the links for our socials are down below as well, so please do get in touch. We would love to hear from you. If you are new to the podcast, thank you for tuning in and listening. We also have a Drone Positive series, which comes out every single Monday, and that series focuses on positive drone stories to try and spread a bit of positivity as far as we can. This Monday's episode was about a trial taking place in Ireland to deliver medicine using drones. So go and check that out if you want to. If you enjoy the podcast, please do make sure you subscribe to it to make sure you never miss an episode. And if you could share the podcast on social media, that would be fantastic. We will see you next Monday for episode 16 of the Drone Positive podcast. But for now, fly safe and stay safe, folks. Bye-bye.
Spilling paint and spilling tears, muddled thoughts of yesteryears, living life in early days, living life in a dreary haze. Sad to think I lost myself, 13 months with little help. Tortured times and tortured strives, no one near to help our lives. But I am missing me, thinking of days that used to be. People are blind, they just don't see the shadow of me, how I used to be. July 17th, a fateful day. Sudden bleed took my mind away, stole my life, stole my soul, left me here in a lifeless hole. Was hard for me to think and tell, to make some sense in a living hell. It's hard for you, 'cause you won't see the hurt that I feel of what used to be. I am missing me, thinking of days that used to be. People are blind, they just don't see the shadow of how I used to be. Only one, my own true love, stood alone as if own blood, cared and shared her loving heart, broke at times through life's dust cart. Love her now as lovers do, my heart forever hers for true. She's my all, my soul, my life, always there to ease my strife. But I am missing me, thinking of days that used to be. People are blind, they just don't see the shadow of me, how I used to be. 17th July, a fateful day. Sudden bleed took my mind away. Stole my life, stole my soul, left me here in a lifeless hole. Time rolls on and tries to heal the old self that blood did steal. I hope with heart that you will see, one day I will come back to thee. But I am missing me, thinking of days that used to be. People are blind, they just don't see the shadow of me, how I used to be. I am missing me,